Hello friends, let's continue with the unit 2 create script-free applications. Lesson 1 and 2 I have already covered. That video link is available in this video description. Please go through that video if you haven't gone through that video yet. Now coming to this lesson 3. So in this lesson 3 we will learn about the various container components and how we can change the look and feel of that container components. So these are the container components which are available in the Design Studio 1.6 like grid layout, Pagebook, Tabstrip, panel, pop-up, image, graphics and icon library, text and formatted text view, and multi-language support. So these are the very important components because this will hold the analysis application altogether means. So let's learn one by one means how this can be useful. So first one is grid layout. So grid layout is being used to group and order the content of your application in a grid that is not displayed at runtime. So if you see, uh, it will be a container like box type, and it will we can hold other objects like charts or cross tabs in this particular grid. And this grid can the border of this grid is not visible to at runtime when users runs this dashboard. So it's very useful while grouping and ordering the content of the application. These are the properties where we can set different options like visible, true or false, CSS class, top margin, left margin. So these are the general formatting options. Coming to Pagebook, this is one more container component. So Pagebook component enables users to switch between different views of an application. So you group the components and contents of view on a separate page. So suppose if you have seen means in iPhone means if you see this, these are the different navigation pages we can say means from one means if you swipe from right or left, then we will get a new view. So this is achieved by using Pagebook. So in a Pagebook we can create our charts or other cross tab or any other functionality that we want, and we can use transition effect here. If we see in a properties, slide in, slide out like that, transition direction horizontal or vertical, that we can specify. If you want to show page indicator, then we can enable this page indicator. So this is a page indicator which shows, and enable swiping also we can useful. So this is very useful. This Pagebook container is useful when we are developing mobile applications. So this is the use of this Pagebook. Coming to next container components, Tabstrip. So Tabstrip is like used to group and order the content of your application in tabs. So the script is triggered when the user selects one of the tabs in the Tabstrip in the application. So if you see, this is one of the application, this first tab and the second tab. On the first tab there is one graph which is created, a chart, and in second tab there is a pie chart. So we can have multiple tabs in a analysis application, and in each tab there are different charts or cross tabs or grids we can create. There also we can create some different scorecards as well in the tabs. So this is very useful when a user wanted to see a particular data on they can navigate from, if they want to see the sales data in one tab, and um, the other data in other tab like that. So this is this Tabstrip is being used like that for that. Coming to the panel component used to group other components in an application. So this is a panel means, so like suppose this is a text component and this is a button. So we can group these two components on a similar level or on a similar size or position. So it is very simple. This panel component, uh, which nests this in this container, are positioned relative to the panel and not to the application border. So whatever the components, like these two components will be positioned to the panel, not to the entire application border. So as we saw already earlier, that container components any components in a design studio application is bound to its border. If it is in a particular component, then it is bound to the particular border, or it is, if there is no any container, then it is bound to entire application borders. Okay, so in this way, means panel can be used, and these components are bound to this panel borders only. So we can position, uh, so whatever we position we want, that way we can display these components within the panel. And with the CSS style property, you can visually group the nested components together. So CSS like cascading styles design, so it is very also useful to design the components. Okay, coming to the pop-up, one more feature or one more container component which helps users to quickly enter information, perform configuration, or make selections. So pop-up can also be used for displaying more specific data for a selected item on the main page. So if you see, this is one page report, first tab and second tab, and there is one label or radio button or checkbox, we can say. This is a checkbox where if you click on this checkbox, a new pop-up window opens where it will show the cross tab. So that way, whatever the data is graphically shown here, we can see in a tabular format or in a cross tab format. And opening of this pop-up also can be changed, like animation, fade animation. This is a fade animation. This type means we can use other like fade in, swipe in, swipe out option as well available there. Okay, so this is the use of pop-up. Now coming to the image, this image component helps to enhance applications by adding images. So in every analysis application, there must be images which will visualize the data properly, and it will be very efficient while means as a design of that or look and feel of that application. So for that purpose, we need images. Everywhere we need images. So for that purpose, we can add images, and we can set these properties like image, which is the image we need to add, HOR image, click image, opacity. So, so this is the use of, means if you want to add a logo in the dashboard, then also we can use image. Coming to one more graphics and icon library component. So this is also very useful, means as an icon, means if you want, means there are standard graphics icons given by SAP, and it is available in this library. If you see, this is a screenshot, means which have all these icons available. Means general icons, means which is required, like if you see this arrow, star, then there are multiple whatever we need based on our requirement, that we can take it from here. It is we can import custom icon library as well, .ttf file, and it is fully scalable. Now in the settings, we can set rectangular or circular shape, or background colors also we can change, and set scaling factors. Coming to the text and formatted text view. So this is a text component which is a very simple text, means, and suppose we want to give a title of that particular analysis application, then we can use this text component. Or there is one more formatted text view which enables to apply text formatting within one control. So if you see, these are the different options available for this text components. It can be formatted with the style property. This will use one of the predefined styles out of the selected theme of the application. So whatever the predefined styles are there available there, that only can be used for this text component. While the formatted text component, we have this styles, or we can specify our own styles here. Then multi-language support. So this works within a design studio application in native language. So suppose we are developing a application in English language, and we wanted to convert that to some other language like German, or in some Indian languages like that. So we can do that. So there is a text pool component, technical component, which is available. which will add the translations centrally within the application. So this text underscore full is one of the components that we can use to translate. So we will see this in a detail in a practical, how we can use this and how we can translate the contents to other languages. Okay, so this was all about the container components. Let's come to the lesson 4, using data bound component properties. So data bound is one more component properties which is available to almost each and every component. So this is very useful, and why this data binding is needed. So whenever we need some live data to be displayed on the dashboard or analysis application, we need some data binding to the data sources. So for that purpose, we need this data binding. And how we can do this? So this is no scripting is required. So this is very useful, means there is no coding actually required. It just we need to bind that to particular components. Bind drop down boxes, list box. So suppose in a drop down boxes we wanted to show the city names from the database, so we can bind that to the particular data source dimension, like that. Bind text elements to measure values. Text elements also we can bind to measure values. We can also bind CSS style to measure value conditions. So this is general, means this is a general properties where if you see visible, there is data binding option. This is the third column which is available. So if you click on this plus icon, the data binding options enable, and it will ask us to assign the values. Now how we can do this? How we can enable? So for suppose this is a text property and we wanted to assign some data cell. So whenever we click on this plus icon, this part gets populated, which will ask us for a source. What is the data cell binding? This is what is the data type, and what is the source, whether it is a ds1, means suppose we can specify a ds1 or ds2, whatever the data sources we have created. Then we can specify a particular cell or a dimension from that data source, and once we select that, this is done, means the data binding is done to that particular text property. Okay, now for that particular data source, say suppose this is enabling that data binding, data cell typing ds1 and then measure time. So once we done apply this selected data cell, it gets enabled. Now fill list box and define filtering. So within list box we wanted to assign some data source dimensions. How we can do the same way? On source, means when we click on that plus icon, this type will give dimensions, numbers, binding, data source. Dimension we can specify, this is a dimension which we wanted to display in the list box, and like suppose this is a list box which we wanted to display, this is a country name, some in other language I guess. So we can have this dimension assigned to it, and then we can display text and key as a member display. And if you want to give the target as well, target binding as well to some other components, so that also we can specify here as a ds1 or ds2. Okay, so this is the way, means how we can bind the data binding. Okay, so yeah, that's it from this video, actually, means lesson 3 and 4. The rest of the lessons I will be covering in the next video. So in this video we learn about the container components, various container components, and then data binding of the components, how we can apply the data binding. So I hope you have understood this. If you have not, means we will be taking a practical examples as well. In that sessions you will better understand these components and the data binding as well. If you like my video, then please like my video, then subscribe to my channel as well, so that you will get to know about my next unit video. Thank you for watching.